Okay guys, this is it. The day of the dreaded upholstery swap. Alright, so these are the tools I'm going to start with, and I'm sure I'll end up going into the shop before this is over to get something else, but we need a heat gun, a socket set. I'm going to use a drill to get rid of some of the bolts off the sides. Some wire cutters or pliers probably work. I'm going to use that little paint tool to help clip out, which I'll show you in a minute. A clip tool, cable ties, hog ring pliers, and hog rings. So first thing we're going to do, I think we'll start with the black one, since the fabric should be a little bit easier to work with and we can get practice. First thing you have to do is take off that handle right there, and back behind there there's a clip, which I don't know if you'll be able to see or not. See that shiny thing right there? The clip, so that pulls, you have to get back in there, and I'm going to try to do that with that little paint can tool and pull that out. Alright, so let's see if we can figure out which direction it's pushed in. Looks like it's from this side. Alright, so that's the clip we're talking about. You just have to grab it and push it from one side and pull it out with the other. So this tool did work. The thing I had to do was take a regular one, and they don't bend around that much, and just curve it around a little more so it grabs. You just get those at any hardware store at the paint department. Alright, so now that that's off, we need to pull these flaps on both sides and take these bolts out. Okay, I have the bolts all out. Before you can lift this seat up, you have to take out this little clip right here. So pull the back down, get you some slack in this cable, and that just pulls out right there. That's what releases or pulls the seat back up and down from your release. All right, now it should lift off. And I think what we'll do is start with the back, and we'll take the headrest off, and then we'll just start slowly trying to get the fabric off. Okay, so the first thing to do is get this headrest off and out of our way, and the easy way to do that, or the only way to do that, is push these two clips in, one on each side, and then lift it up, and it just slides out. So we don't have to do anything with those since we're just switching. All we gotta do is just swap those, so that's easy. Now, I'm going to flip this thing over, and there's a clip that goes right across here, and one here, and one here, and we got to release those. Okay, once you get it started underneath there, you should just be able to slide it across and it pops off. Okay, and the same thing with these down here. Okay, one and two. Alright, so that's loose. Now, along these seams there's Velcro. You see it pushes way down in there. You have to carefully roll this thing back. But you don't go too far because there's also hog rings in here. Okay, so that's the Velcro section. It's down. Yeah, there's the hog rings. Alright, so we'll do a close-up here. Okay, so there's where the hog rings are. See, they go through this piece of piping or whatever this is right here, and down through the foam, and then there's a little place that it goes around right there. So we gotta remember that, because we gotta put those back in. I've seen some people not use hog rings to go back and use belt or little cable ties. So we're gonna see which one works the best. We don't want them to come back loose, but I've heard cable ties work easier and better. So we'll check it out when we're putting it back together. Right now, let's get those apart. Should just bend out. Like anything, if you do a few of these, it'll get faster, I'm sure. Alright. Alright, so both of those are loose enough to pull this out. More Velcro. That off. And actually, that piece of Velcro came off with the seat, so we need to glue this back in right here on this foam. So now we have to do some stretching. I'll show you when I get this off, but this fabric should stretch around these two humps from where the seat headrest goes. Yep, see those? The fabric has a small hole, and those are big holes, so you gotta pull it pretty tight, and I'm sure it's a lot harder on leather. There we go. So that was not too painful. That's off. So before I do anything else, I want to go ahead and do the same thing to the leather one. Get it off. And we'll try to do the switch on the upper part before we tackle the lower part, make sure everything's going to work okay. Okay, and as we knew, these two seats were different because one has the side airbags, and so we've got, you know, airbag up in this upper back. So we've got cables or wires that go from the bottom to the top. So we got to unplug this stuff. This one plugs right here. You got to push in on this tab right here. That pulls out, and then this one goes up. Also, these are heated seats, so one of those is heat and one is airbag. I think this is heat. Then this comes up here and it's down through these, snipped in through these holes from the bottom, so I've already got that pushed out. So we just have to route those back out through. And then both of them through this little loop right here. And then we can get the back off. Alright, there it is. It all went back nice and tight. See any wrinkles? So I don't think you would ever know that that wasn't on there originally. So now the hard one, the leather, because I know that is not gonna stretch as easy as that black fabric, but let's give it a try. Woohoo! Got it done. All right. So now, I mean, that feels pretty good. Doesn't look like it's wrong size or anything like that. So we'll set that over to the side and we'll start at the bottom. I think we need to flip it over. And there's clips along the front and the sides. Let's get this front one off. Hopefully you can see. Okay, so that just clips up, pulls up. There's one right here. Comes off. Okay, now we have a little clip that holds this cable. It goes right here, and that's going through the fabric. So you need to grab a screwdriver and get that out, and hopefully that just pushes onto that post, and that won't cause us any problems, I hope. Let's get that thing off. There should be probably one on the other side too. Good, just slides right off. That's good. Same thing with the other side. Alright. Now, let's get the clips off back here. Not an easy way to get in there. Okay, see, it just clips right over that little thing there. So now let's flip it back over and see how this comes off. Alright, so we've got hog rings. Put the seatbelt through. I can do that when we get the hog rings off. Alright, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hog rings on this side. Alright, so fabric is off. Make sure when you do this that you get all the whatever little pieces of hog ring are left in there out, so we don't want to cut any fabric once we get the new one put on. There's the sensors for the airbag. Pretty amazing. That's just a flat little piece of plastic that has pressure sensors in there. Huh. So we got one piece of Velcro going through the center and 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 hog rings. There they all are. It worked better for me to just cut them instead of trying to bend them. Just take your wire cutters and just snip them and then get the pieces out after you get the fabric off. So now let's do get the other one off. Now make sure you're really careful when you're using these snips next to the leather upholstery so you don't cut through the leather like I just did. No, just kidding, Paul. Okay, so here we have the heated seat. This is the one that the black goes back on. I have this horrible nightmare that I'm going to forget and put the leather one right back in the same spot. Okay, so that was the same exact process. The only difference is when you take it off, there's a heat pad in there instead of just a plain foam. So let's get the black fabric and do the reverse order. A bunch of hog rings. And this hog ring plier thing works really good and easy, so I'm just doing that instead of the cable ties, just going back with what was originally on there. It occurred to me that I didn't really show you guys how these hog rings work, in case you've never done this before. But so here you have a hog ring. Okay, these are the pliers. There's a little slot in there. The pliers are spring loaded. So they hold that like this, and then when you actually get in here to do it, each one of these pieces of piping has a hole above it. And so the top part of that hog ring goes into that top hole, and the bottom half goes down here. There's like a little piece of cable. I don't know if you can see it or not. Try to get you closer. Little piece of cable in there that the other end of the hog ring goes around. So I'll do it up here. Put the top part of that in there, bottom part down in that piece of cable, and make sure you don't get into your heated seat. Make sure that it goes around both items, cable and the piping. So if you can see that, I don't know if you can. There, how it went around both of them. So you just keep doing that all the way around. It's pretty easy. Alright, so that part is complete. There's no issue putting it back together. It was just the same as reverse, or same as taking it off. So let's go ahead and put the seat back on. The seat back on. So don't forget, we got to hook up those cables that are sticking out the back there, and then it's just 4 bolts. Alright, so all we got left to do is put this little dude back on. All the wires are hooked up. Everything is done like it's supposed to be done, hopefully. And well, the trick on this is if you can get this thing started, the way all you gotta do is when you get in there is push it. Just kind of barely get it where it's barely hanging on in there, or the piece will still go down in there. And then just push it once you get it on. Alright, see if it'll work. Yep. Finishing touch, headrest. And there we go. So that was not as bad as I thought. But now we're not done yet. We still got to do the leather bottom, but Beth's is now finished. All right, there we have it. 2 complete seat swaps. So we only have to do that one more time with the driver's side seats, because the back seats just are even swaps. Don't have to take anything apart. So I'm super relieved and happy that that worked. And now when we put those back in the new Jeeps, all the lights, airbag lights and all that should just continue to work right, and should have heated seats, and the Jeep is supposed to have heated seats. Okay, so now I've got the driver's side set of seats here, and just like the other set, which is back there, we're going to jump on this, and it should be as easy as pie, and they should be done just like that. And there they are. They're all done. So the second time around was much faster because I knew what I was doing. I didn't have to figure anything out. So that's it. That's the hard part done on the upholstery part of the interior swap. So now comes the dash and the door panels.
And always remember, don't retire it if you can rebuild it. See you guys next week. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in and watching this week's episode of Rebuild It. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any awesome content. Have a good one.